Hey guys, welcome back to the studio. Hope you all are doing well. I have officially completely lost track of time. You would think that with us being stuck at home the way that we are, that time would go really slow, but I seem to find that the opposite is happening, and I am losing track of my days. So, I've had this sitting on my desk for a while, and I keep meaning to record the next part. So here we are. So if you don't know how we got to these envelopes, you may want to go back one day and watch that video, because I recorded them just the day before. You'll see this one pop up. I think it was day 15, but I'm not 100% sure. Again, losing track of days. But so we have these pockets, and I had this journal page, which I tried to tie in with same colors and same stamp, and then we were going to attach them. So that's what we're going to work on today, and then we are going to make a couple tags that will fit into our pockets. So, and I have our sizes for when we need them, but let's attach our pockets first. So last time I was saying that you could have multiple ways of putting your pockets. If you want them to flip to the inside, if you want them to flip to the outside, or even if you wanted to alternate and have one flip and one flip. It just depends on what you want to do. I, for ease, am going to make them all flip this way. Oh, by the way, when you watched the last video, remember I said I was drying it and I melted the plastic? Well, I ended up cutting the plastic out because I couldn't get this envelope flat with the crinkled up plastic in the back. So, another note, don't heat gun the plastic part of the envelope. So this bottom one, I'm actually, because of what I've had to do, I'm going to mount flat. But if you want yours to be a flap, you're just going to create the same tabs that we're going to create on the top two for your bottom one. So I am going to start with, well, first of all, make sure that all of your pockets have the opening facing up. You don't want to accidentally put one upside down, because then it's just a decorative piece, no longer a tab pocket. Kind of decide where you want them. I think I want mine about there. I still haven't decided what I'm going to do over here, or even if I'm going to do anything. And when I try them over here, I just don't like them as much for some reason. I don't know why. So I just see them here. Now, to create the flips, you need something a little sturdier than washi tape. So I'm going to use just masking tape, but if you had artist tape, you could use that. You could probably even use packing tape. You just want something that's a little stronger. The washi tape just, it's not going to hold, and washi tape, as it gets bent over and over again, it will get brittle. So I would recommend using something a little stronger. Now the masking tape we're going to cover because we're going to make some decorative hinges. So it really doesn't matter what you use. So even if you have just duct tape sitting around, you can use that. I'm just going to cut a couple of pieces. So this first, the tiny pocket, the small one in the front, is going to have 2 hinges. And then the one behind it will have 3. And then if you're hinging this third envelope, it'll have 4 or possibly 5. Up to you. So I just go ahead and I stack my envelopes, put them where I want them, and then I have these little pieces I'm just going to place on the envelope. I like to take my fingernail and kind of press it down, because if you just push it down, then it's always going to be pulling up. So it's hard to see, but there's almost like a little step down. And then I'm going to take the other one. And because I'm a weirdo, I know that the fact that these are different lengths is going to bug me, so I'm going to have to trim this one. So I have both of those in now with that little step down. And then I'm just going to open up that top one. And then I am going to take 2 more pieces. You can kind of, I'm going to slide these over for now, but I can see where my tape is on that other side. So I just line those back up. Remember, they're not butted exactly next to each other. There is just a tiny bit of a gap. And then I'm just going to place these 2 hinges in the same spot. So it anchors the first envelope to the second envelope. And do the same here at the bottom. And then I'll cut 1 more to add a 3rd hinge. So now I have envelope 1 connected with those 2, and then you open it, envelope 2 is connected with 3 hinges. And then if I were doing this one, I would put a hinge, the 3rd hinge, and then depending on the size of your envelopes, I would add my 4th up here. So then I would have all 4 hinges. So I have those down. I'm going to go ahead and glue my last envelope. And you always have the option. The last envelope doesn't have to be a flip if you don't want it to be, even if you didn't melt the plastic of your envelope like I did. So I'm just going to add some glue stick and go ahead and line this back up. Remember, leaving just that little gap so as the envelopes fold, they won't bind up on each other. And that'll sit there and that'll dry. So now, done with the tape, I am going to grab some collage material. Now at this point, oh, you know what? I'm just going to take some washi tape now. So I don't use washi tape in order to attach the pockets, but putting a strip of washi tape over the masking tape I think would work. So let's go ahead and see if I have one that would be the right width and that I like the look of. Alright, I'm going to use this one. This one is a Dina Wakley from a couple years ago with her scribbly faces on it. So again, I'm just going to place it down, use my fingernail to make that little step down. Make sure you don't push too hard though, because you will go through the washi tape. So covered up 2 hinges. And you could always mix up your washi tape. You don't have to use the same on all of your hinges. You know, I think black and white washi always works on everything. If you want to be a little more secure with the washi, you could add a little bit of glue stick underneath, just to make sure that it stays down. If these start coming up, I'll probably come back and do that. And then I think this last one I'm going to add some washi just so that the 3 envelopes tie in together, since I've tried to make them look fairly similar. So I'm just tucking a piece of washi tape in that little crevice that's between the envelopes. I don't think it'll, yeah, it won't affect it, especially once the book's been closed for a while. But then it just kind of ties them all together, since I designed them to look similar. But now that I have the washi tape out, I'm just wondering if, no, too much. Okay. Put away your washi tape. At least that's what I have to tell myself, because sometimes I go a little washi crazy. Alright, so I have my 3 pockets in. All 3 have the top facing up, so that was a success. So I'm just going to slide this to the side for now. So remember, your envelopes depend on the size of your journal. For this larger Dilutions journal, these were the sizes I used. But if you're, remember, if you're using a smaller one, if you're using like the 6x6 or any of those, you'll want to go ahead and adjust your sizes. So whatever size envelope you made, your tags should be the 1 inch larger, so that they will hang out at the top just a little bit. And then width-wise, I made mine, I would say about 1/4 to 1/2 inch smaller than the width of the pocket. So then they go in and out pretty easily. Plus I know I want to add some collage elements to them. So I don't want to have, I want to be able to allow for a little bit of bulk. So my tags, I'm just going to make out of some brown craft paper. And so I already have them cut. I have these 3 cut to those 3 sizes. But I haven't done my edges or the center hole yet, because I wanted to show you a little trick that I figured out. Because I always struggle to get both of my sides looking the same. And I know if you cut one off, then you can flip it over. But the other day when I was grabbing a stencil, I happened to grab one of Tim Holtz's stencils, and I noticed, oh look, this looks like a tab. So I just grabbed it and I lined it up with the edge of my paper and trimmed it, because you know that Tim Holtz's, anything he makes is going to be very precise. So I know that his 2 sides are going to be the same, so I'm just cutting those edges off. And then I have my tab. So if you don't have a Tim Holtz stencil, go buy one. But if not, when you cut one off, you can just flip it over and use it as a pattern on the other one. I could just never hold that little thing in my hand. So this is a lot easier for me. And then I'm just going to grab my hole punch. Now my hole punch, the center, I usually just kind of eyeball it, because it usually doesn't make a huge difference. So that's my little tiny one. So you can see it hangs out, well maybe you can see, it hangs out of the pocket just a little bit. And if I wanted to add some sari ribbon or something on here, that would make it easier to pull out. So I'm going to do the same thing with the next 2 sizes. And the only reason I use craft paper is I've been slightly obsessed with it lately. If you saw the one video I did where I made a whole journal of craft paper and then just used black and white images in it, or stamps. So I've had a lot of craft paper sitting around my desk. So it seems like I have been using a lot more craft paper. Alright, so, oops. So I have those. I'll go ahead and hole punch them again. Oh, haha. Once you've done one, now you have a pattern. Look at that. Because if the holes aren't matching, that'll bug me. So now all three match. Ta-da! Alright, if you need sizes, go ahead and take a quick picture. I'm just going to put this to the side. And I'm going to do some quick collage decoration just to get something on these tags before I tuck them in the journal. So I brought some cardboard over. I know it seems kind of redundant because I already have the brown craft. But again, this is another thing I was slightly obsessed with lately. And I think it's because my husband just got a new bike. And it got shipped, a bicycle, not like a motorcycle. It got shipped from California. So of course they put it in like a super sturdy box. And it has all of this cardboard around it. And it's the good cardboard, people. It's not the cheap stuff. So when he was unpacking the bike, he was very excited. And when I saw the packing material, I was very excited. So I told him not to throw it away. Because I like to tear these apart. Why? I don't know. Something about that partially deconstructed thingamabob. And I'm not going to use this whole piece. And I think I want the top to be kind of torn. Alright. This little tiny piece I just tore has to go on the little tag. Sometimes I don't think things through. Actually, most of the time, I don't think things through. But so I just want to build a little collage. Oh, this one peeled good. That's a good one. Let's do this one the other way. This is the other reason that I knew I wanted to make my tags, to give myself some room in there so that I could build up this collage. This one doesn't want me to peel it. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Isn't that cool? This one's a little too big. Alright, I'm going to glue stick those on real quick. Yes, I just use glue stick as a verb. Because in the land of Mary, I'm allowed to make up words. That's why these videos are called Happy Arting. By the way, I don't think arting is a real word. So I'm going to use these as my base and then put some more collage on top. I have my bag of collage and I also have Dina's Collage Collective because I've been trying to make a point of using that more frequently. And it's also nice just to have something quick that you can just grab something out of the book. And especially because she has kind of like pre-made art pieces in there that you can just pull out, add a couple things to, and you're done. And I don't want to spend a huge amount of time on these tags because the main focus is the page. But it'd still be nice to have something. So I think I'll use a little bit of that because see that repetitive pattern, the circles? I always talk about repetitive patterns if you've listened to me before. Oh, and maybe some fat. No, that's too white. When I work, I always call it trying out or auditioning. I just pull things out and see. Oh. Because most of the time you can look at something and you can decide yes or no if it's going to work. I might just do that, and I'm going to grab my Collage Collective. Now Dina has a couple of Collage Collectives. She had one large one that came out last year that was just called Collage Collective, and it's 60 pages. Half of them are heavyweight and half of them are a thinner weight. And then this year she came out with a new one, but she divided it into 2 volumes. So it's still 60 pages, just you could buy just this one or just this one, or you could buy them both, which of course I did. So like I said, a lot of what's in here is things that are already done that you can go ahead and just use. So this is the thinner weight paper. I would say this is more like a scrapbook. So 120 GSM is, I can't do the math that fast in my head. Probably around 70-pound paper. So maybe a little thinner than scrapbook paper. And then these ones in the back are 270. So these are pretty close to watercolor paper, because watercolor paper is 300 GSM and these are 270. So I'm going to use the thicker ones just because since I'm using this texture piece, I want something that'll sit up and not get beat up as it's going in and out of the pocket. These are one idea because I like those figures. But let's see what else we got. And if you don't have the Collage Collective, again, buy them. But if that's not an option, oh, and by the way, if you want to buy them, I recommend checking at Joggles first, joggles.com. It is it's still a small run business, and they have great customer service, and their shipping's a little slower right now because of everything that's going on. I think they don't have as many people working for them right now, but it's still, you know, you're still getting your stuff usually within a week or maybe a week and a half now. I placed an order late last week, and I got notification today that it shipped. So I'll be getting some new stuff to show. Oh, okay, I'm going to use these. Just so you don't have to watch me flip through books over and over again. And I like these. They're a little smaller than the figures. On those figures, I felt like I was going to lose too much of the art that's around it. So I want to add a little bit of collage here first. These collage papers, it's because of how the fibers are. If you tear them one direction, you get a really great tear. If you try to tear them the other direction, you don't. And you have to kind of force the tear. So I usually just hold my fingers where I want it to tear, and that gives me a little bit more control. Because see, if I don't do that, I get that, which, you know, that's not bad. Oh, that one. I think that one looked good there. I'm going to grab my glue book, which is just the magazine that I use to glue on so I don't end up with glue all over my desk and myself and gluing my pages together and everything else. So this Collage Collective goes down a little quicker with gel medium, but I already had the glue stick out. So with the gel medium, it'll disappear a little more than it will with the glue stick, but because I'm doing it on the craft, I don't really care about it disappearing. But if I were doing it on a whiter page, I would probably want it to disappear, and then I would use the collage medium or gel medium, fluid matte medium, any of those. I'm going to try to tear this one down a little bit more. I'm just going to trim that. since the pockets aren't going to really allow for anything that's hanging over the sides. I usually like things on tags that are kind of falling off the sides, but I know that's not going to work with these pockets. So again, I'm repeating the same items, but they're different sizes, different placement. So they relate to each other, but they don't look like duplicates of each other. The same way I did with the pockets. So then I'm going to pick at least 3 of these circles. And again, I didn't think about it at the time, I just grabbed a quick page, but we're repeating the pattern because we have a circle. So these circles, when you think about it, you could make these. If you have a couple pages of jelly print, you can add a little bit more to them, cut them with a circle punch, and you would have the exact same thing. And sometimes I do that, and I do have bins where I'm using some of my old artwork and using it to repeat and create my own collage material. But sometimes it's just nice to grab a book and pull something out. Now the one thing about Dina's Collage Collective is it is double-sided, but to me that's not wasted because I'll stick that eye on something. What, you just don't randomly glue eyes to things? And then I just kind of decide which one seems like it needs to go where. I like that better. For some reason, this one was too busy for this small tag. Again, I think doing things for a while, you start to have a recognition of what you like when you see it. This one I feel like it needs a little more though, so I'm actually going to take some more Collage Collective. I just felt like this was a little bare down here. So I think that looks, that's a little better. I like this one. It's kind of minimal for me. This one, just because of the size of the tag, it's a little busier. Not sure about the placement. I want to see the corrugated part. So I may put that there. But I feel like this one needs something else. Does it need more? No. This is what happens. Does it need a little book page? No. I feel like if I add something to one, I need to add it to all of them, and these 2 are good. So maybe I just need to live with this one for now. Oh, look, there's an eye. That would be cool. Doesn't play with my color story, but now I know what to do with that other eye. I'm just going to punch it out and stick it randomly on a page. We'll have a little scavenger hunt. See who can find it in my journal. I've hidden plenty of things in my journal and made my classes find it. So you can see these tags, they come together pretty quick. I had an idea that I wanted to use the cardboard, so that was really the only start that I had to these as far as a vision for them. I knew I didn't want them to be super busy because the page that they're working with is super busy. So I thought it'd be nice to have something a little calmer. So I'll just carefully tuck these in and see what we're working with. Now, one thing I didn't think about, but I think it's going to work out. See, you don't really see much of the collage. You don't really see much, which is fine. I'm fine with that because it's kind of like a little surprise then. When you pull out the tag, you don't know what's going to be on it. So see how they've started to puff up because I've filled them. So I could have left even more room for the hinges, but honestly, over time, once the journal's closed, it's going to press them down and kind of stretch that tape out. So that doesn't bother me. Now for ribbon, or I think I want something simple. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. And it defeats the purpose of having a hole, but in your tag. Nope. Yep. So I didn't have to punch the hole after all, but I didn't know that at the time. I like to make these little washi tape tabs at the top of my tags. Yeah. Just make it easier, Mary, and pull the tab out. So I like to make these little tabs. There, you can see them better. So instead of using, I could have easily used ribbon or some baker's twine, or, because look, I already grabbed the baker's twine. That would have been cute too. But sometimes I just like putting, it's another way of using up some washi. Unless, you don't have any. And then, why are you here? If you don't have more art supplies than you know what to do with, you have picked the wrong channel to watch. A friend was telling me the other day that there was an artist who was saying that, you just needed minimal supplies and you didn't have to always buy new stuff. And I said, nobody needs that kind of negativity in their life. Because there are never enough art supplies. For example, I have 9 kajillion stencils, but I just joined Stencil Girls monthly club, so I can get more stencils every month. So now I have 9 kajillion plus 3. So, tabs in the book. Remember, this all started as just a background that didn't really have anything going on, and I didn't know what to do with it other than just stick a quote on it, because that's what I tend to do. So, but I want to show you just another way of adding to your journal. I just pulled up the one that I glued down. I may have to actually put like real glue under there, because I don't know if, with all that paint on it, I'm not sure if the glue stick is going to be quite enough. So I'll do that now, just using some liquid glue for now. I don't have a favorite liquid glue. I have like 5 or 6 on my desk, and whichever one I can get to quickly is the one that I use if I'm just gluing something like this. So this is just an Elmer's Craft Bond, but I have plenty of others. So I just have to line it back up. But then that liquid glue will really settle, as long as I don't decide to rip it up. But so it's just another way to add something fun to your journal. I can just see, especially like when you finish a journal, you put it on the shelf, but if you're like me, every once in a while I like to grab my journals and just flip through them. And so when I get to that, it's almost like a little mini journal inside. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it adds something to your journal pages. I'm going to close this one so it can dry, hopefully. Look, I'm like halfway through and it's already big and chunky. Just the way I like it. So, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day whenever it is you're watching this. And I will see you all next time.